Hello, this is Pigsy doing another video. Aren't you lucky? Don't know, it's a bit steamed up my vehicle, so one of these sort of, that's fine. One of the going ballistic. Someone a bit old school, my generation more. If a car let you go, walk across a section of the road, you're likely to speed up so that you can get out of the way of the car as a kind of like cooperation or a thank you, or you realise you're doing something wrong. Nowadays people just walk slower across it, like this is my right, I am important, and stuff like that, when they're not really, they just think they are. I think if you've got to put something on, then it's not there. So, you know, if you're trying to pretend like, I'm going to take my time walking. I've seen it on a couple of things, or social awkwardness. Other things like people just ignoring you. So, people have to go over this manner thing when it comes to gender equality. If a man acts in a way, so opens a door or something, he's being courteous. He's not trying to disempower the individual in some way. He's actually he's trying to demonstrate some respect, because he realises that he's a potentially could be considered a threat in some way, or whatever. So he's trying to actually accommodate that. In the same way, if a woman says hello, she's more likely to engage or start a conversation verbally. But nobody would say, well, I don't think you've got the right to say hello to me. You know, it'd just be like so bizarre, it's so awkward if we started all acting like this. So, you know, when there's a situation you can take control, you say, no, that's fine, I'll deal with that. And that's fine, you know, most men will actually do what they're told. So there's not a problem there, it's just that I think it's manner stuff. Because you get weird things like people going the road and don't know what the hell they're doing. Or, I like a situation in a queuing, I was queuing and I could only pay with cash, and it was a client's shopping. And I turned to the woman behind me and said, well, if you've got a card, you can go ahead. And she just like, you know, I wasn't asking her on a day. I was saying, look, can you, if you want to use it, it's there. She could have at least shown some interest, because the person behind her doesn't know that if she's interested or not, and it's just got a load of individuals that don't bloody know what they're doing, basically, because they can't engage. They're also quite vulnerable when someone's like that. It's like a hostage situation, you know. Nobody knows what to do, and so if I'm quite an aggressive thing, they've already fragmented themselves, but disassociating themselves with the actual environment. Like, so you know, if I grabbed hold of her, she'd go, hey, Dad, but she'd be like a lamb. It wouldn't be any kind of struggle really, because she's like I say, as a group, collectively, people are stronger. Not that I would do that to people. It's just I was just thinking of these situations where these people, like, well, if you're slightly a little bit narcissistic, or you're also eccentric in a way, or extrovert, the absence of human emotion, you'll likely fill that void, and as a result you'll act out on that, and that might be messing around or whatever. Especially when you've got really serious parents and their kids are like, they look at you like, oh, what do you mean? So the world has gone upside down. I've been watching things like some of these detective type programs. I've been watching Ice Cold Blood. I've been looking at people where the toxic relationship ended up in murder, and a lot of it, you can see, whereby men would carry out the violence, but it may be initially instigated by a female. She might say, well, we don't need them out of the picture, he's got life insurance, got whatever. And what's happened is the serious relationship, in that guy's mind, because he's rich or whatever, and she's basically sold that to him. She's hooked up with a casual relationship, and he's not very smart, and so she set him up to do the trouble, and then she could step back from him and say, well, he was casual, I don't know why he done what he did, and all these sorts of things. But yeah, there are some real messed up stuff that goes on out there, and it's not all men, you know, going off. I mean, there are some crazies out there, like people that are just obsessives, and you know, they're looking through people's windows and believe there's things going on that are not going on. How to deal with them kind of people? I think dealing with them as a collective group would be better. You know, if you're going to confront someone that you think is a bit unhinged, you'd be better off doing it with your mate. just say, look, I'd like you as a friend, however, this kind of behaviour and other things, there isn't anything else going on now. I don't mean to cause you lots of pain or whatever. And if somebody can't break free, you said, you know, I would, if I was in your situation, I would seek some help and support from somebody else. And then, you know, just, oh, the other thing is just write down the piece of paper with the facts. Because some people think, oh, she's the one I was meant to marry her. But what facts led you to that point, that conclusion? She was nice to you, but then she's nice to everyone. It's like, okay. And things like that. So they might be able to, but then again, when people are emotionally attached to things, it's these neurons that are firing up. So you can learn from bad mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes to make better outcomes. You know, and like I say, there's different opportunities. You shouldn't limit yourself. Just go look at a different country. It's a bit like I've been writing to a few people in Russia, and it was interesting. Once somebody I wrote to misunderstood something. You said it feels like, I'm not too sure if I understood properly, but you felt like you could break in my heart. And I thought that. So basically, I addressed that, but I addressed it in a way that was like, oh, my heart is broken too. And it's like, oh. And then I said, basically, it was a client that died who liked hugging me at night and stuff. She thought I was interested in another woman. So, but that's because the worst fears sometimes predict the behaviour. So if you're scanning through a letter, bits of it will jump out that you might be, oh, what does that mean? You know. So, but I've used that push me pull me tactic a little bit there, whereby I said one thing that probably made a lump in her throat at first, like, oh, he's heartbroken as well, what's he doing to me, you know, thing, and then the reverse that. But it also tells me that this person is just messing around, because a lot of that goes on, and you never really trust the internet. But I've set myself up for opportunities, and that's really what I want to do with MGTOW. I'm not sort of divorcing myself from females per se. I'm just actually following a set rules, you know, just not being so vulnerable, because that happens if you're kind of a beta male. You know, you can find someone who's very nice, but she's a single mum, and then the thing is, you find out the kids later, but you've always started to like her, and you think, well, I haven't got any other options that are going on. Shall I pursue this? And then what happens is that you don't realise she basically had already decided she wanted to date you, etc., and used that to her advantage, because she might have realised you've got a certain amount of money. You know, if you haven't got a job, she wouldn't even be talking to you, or she'd be going about putting her kids first and stuff. And it's just difficult, because, you know, you can never really have a relationship that you're craving for if somebody's already in a kind of, is cohabiting with their other family and all sorts of other responsibilities in the mix. And it's not completely selfish, just that how do you create a deep, meaningful relationship with someone when 20% of their time is devoted to somebody else that they consider a high priority, because it's like their legacy if it's a child, and all sorts of things. So that's different. So another quick thing I go into, more of the paranormal stuff. I keep getting these, like, 5 or 6 in the morning. I get sometimes these like flashes of light. My eyes are closed, I see this little flash, like a torchlight being aimed at me. No one else in the room. So I had it a few days ago with a red one. There's a red light flash like a ruby, and there was like these bright white lights, and I was trying to focus them. It's either a neurological problem that could be quite serious or not. I don't know. I have to look at it. It could be that your brain is actually growing neurons or something. Who knows? Or it could even be some of my plants, because they've got they're quite powerful ones, like the Brugmasia and some of the other ones. Maybe chemically that's causing like a microtrip or something, potentially. Which I don't mind. Something that stimulates my brain, gives me a bit of a vivid mind. Because we're meant to be engaging with nature. It's what we were designed for. We can create our own little bubbles, but the more we engage in nature, it might improve our health and so on. Well, yeah, and even might improve our chances against something like COVID, because your body's engaging with different chemicals in the environment and so on. Ooh. So I might have to look that up, actually. Classic fairy orbs stuff, you know. And it could be why people do see orbs and fairies and associate them with plants, because the plants have that chemical reaction to cause that. Let's have a look down here. Fucking car park, so busy. Anyways, big sign off. Have a great one. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.